Alright everybody, how's it going? Sajin's Gamertag here, and the NX has finally been revealed in the form of the Nintendo Switch. And an interesting name, I can see why they picked it, because you're switching from basically console gaming to going on the go. So it's a good name. I know people juggle things around like Duo and stuff like that. Switch isn't a perfect name, but it works for me. I'm going to show you some screenshots of the announcement trailer here, and I'm going to give you my opinion on things. So first of all, we have here someone playing what is obviously Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild on their TV. The problem I see with this, though, is this looks no different from the Wii U version. And I mean, since it's a new console, I expected it to be a little more like how a lot of modders and stuff were making sort of like the Zelda and Mario areas in like Unreal Engine 4 and stuff like that. I guess I expected the new version to look a little more like that, change the art style a bit if it's going to be a new console, to set them apart. But this doesn't look any different, and that's kind of a concern for me, because there's been a lot of speculation about the power of this console, and this isn't a good first output for it. I'm hoping it's just like a tech demo, and they just sort of ported Breath of the Wild over there, and after this they're working on changing the appearance and upping it or something. And maybe it's just like small differences, like the draw distance gets upped like a massive amount, and there are just more things that you can see clearer further away, things like that. Maybe that's the only difference, sort of a Twilight Princess kind of angle on it, where the Wii version might have been a little better. But anyway, I'm going to continue on. So the trailer goes, if you haven't seen it already, where he's playing Breath of the Wild on his TV, and then his dog barks at him because he wants to go for a walk. And so he decides to get up and grab the portable version, which is in the... Oh, I'm sorry. Alright, first, so this is the logo that they're going with for the Nintendo Switch, and it's a great logo. I completely understand it. It makes perfect sense. You've got the one side to it, and then the other side. So like this could be the console, and this could be the handheld part of it, to separate it like that. I like the red background. I really hope they go with like red packaging, because PlayStation stole their blue, and it was kind of mean of them to do that. But now red is wide open if Nintendo wants to take it, and I am on board with them taking red on their game packaging. Notice also, because these are supposed to be the control sticks, the controller now has asymmetrical sticks, which I've never personally been a huge fan of, but it's they confirm it on the controller. I'm okay with it. I don't really care that much either way. But you'll get to see a picture of the controller later. Now back to what I was saying, where his dog barks at him to go for a walk, and so he gets up and goes to the dock of the system. Here's our first look of the Nintendo Switch. And so this is the main dock here, and then we've got the tablet type thing, which is the on-the-go part. It's got this little compartment here for the controllers to just slide into. You'll see that in a bit. Some good things about this, though, is we have our USB docks over here, and also it's a little beefy back here, so there might be some console power in there to help drive it. What I don't like about this, though, is this seems to be a permanent charging station for the tablet. And while that's convenient in some ways, it's like, so I have to reference back when I got those rechargeable batteries for my Wii remotes, back in the day. I always kept them on the charging station, and eventually it got down to where they had a battery of only like 10 minutes. And it was really bad, and I'd like to think this has a decent battery to start with, but it could get easily worn down, and with this concept, and I'm just not really sure about that. But we'll have to see. And so again, the logo's on here. It looks all grainy and nice. There's sort of a lack of color all around, which I find kind of strange. But I don't know, maybe not on the console itself, but you'll see on some later things. But yeah, this looks promising in some ways, and I'm not so sure about others. But we're moving on. So this looks like to be the regular controller that comes with the Nintendo Switch. You'll see in a second, it's got this like back part that's got like the handles of an actual controller. Um, and these are the different parts of the controller that you just slide them off and put them on the tablet. And I like the use of green lights here. That's very different from the Wii and Wii U aesthetic, and it means it's another sign that they're going in a completely different direction. Um, what I don't like about these lights, though, is I hope it's just a sign that the controller's connected, and I hope it doesn't mean that these little controller things need their own charging compartments, which they might based on how they're used later, and I can just see that being another problem with the battery life of things, and I just don't know. I just don't know about this. Um, but so you got the asymmetrical stick. The right stick is down here, which means the A, B, and X, Y buttons are up here. This is the other stick, and this is a separated D-pad, which you will see later on. The home button is right here, and I believe this is the much anticipated share button that we'll now have, and that will be great. Alright, continuing on. You see, yeah, they just slide these parts of the controller off, and there's a handle type thing in the back, which looks it looks all right. I mean, it's if you had this kind of gimmick for your system, I mean that this is the way I would do it. I would imagine. So you just slide them off right there, and then you just slide them right onto the sides of the tablet portion, and then you can take it on the go. And it's what's been rumored. It basically confirms the whole Eurogamer thing and basically what everyone else thought the console was going to be like. It looks okay. It looks nice enough to me. And so yeah, oh, there's a little TV symbol right next to that. Oh, I guess that maybe this isn't exactly a charging station, because if those green lights on the controller are just signs that they're connected, this is just a sign that it's connected to the TV. So that's interesting. Finding out new things all the time. Alright, so let's keep going. Alright, so now he's got it on the go. I kept this one because it gives you a slightly different angle on the controller. Here's that separated D-pad I told you about. That'll be useful in some games and not so useful in others, but they have a remedy to that. It's useful in some ways with how these are used later on, and I'll demonstrate that. Another thing to notice about this controller, though, is that has to be a share button, because our plus and minus buttons are up here now, and they're nice and big. They're cool looking. I like those. And so he's obviously still playing Breath of the Wild. There was a whole conspiracy for a while about it being like some gimmicky version of the game that you take with you, like an app or something, because people were using like different terminology with like take a version of the game with you on the go. But it looks like you're taking the full game with you, which is good. Which is good. Alright, so moving on. Here's our first view of the cartridges. Look at that. The cartridge drive is in the top right section of the tablet, it seems. And there's a headphone jack, so Apple didn't get to Nintendo here with their iPhone designs. Alright, and also the tablet has its own little fan section, which I kind of like. It sort of signifies there's a little more power behind it, I guess, which is cool. Alright, moving on. And you can see there's a bit of a stand with it, so you can like prop it up and play with it, and detach the controllers and just hold them to your sides if you want to play it like that, and that's pretty cool. Cartridge drive is right up here. There's that fan again, and you got a little bit of a backing here for the triggers. The button and the bumpers and triggers look really nice, I have to say. They look pretty cool. That looks like that might be like actual triggers too, which is a good thing. The Wii U didn't exactly have that. And so yeah, I like how modern and high-tech this whole thing looks. Alright, moving on. And so, while this guy's on the airplane, he's obviously playing the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. Whether that's the remastered version or not remains to be seen. I'd like to think these are like the remastered textures and all that. There are different screenshots of him playing the same game later on, so it's pretty much confirmed that this is Elder Scrolls Skyrim, which is awesome because the Wii U never got one. The Wii never got like anything Bethesda, so that it's really great that we're finally getting Bethesda support. And there's that D-pad again, and yep, the headphone jack is being used. And he's about to slide off these controllers to hold to his side and just play the game while he's on the airplane. All right, moving on. All right, so this looks like our new version of the Pro controller, because the previous controller that we saw is obviously very, very different. And I just have to say, just look at how fucking awesome this controller looks. Like, holy shit, Nintendo has kicked it into high gear. This controller looks amazing and really comfortable. These look like freaking leather grips here. And the sticks look really nice, really Xbox One kind of. We have a regular D-pad, a regular connected D-pad again, so to be better used in fighting games and things like that. That looks like our home button. That's our share button, minus and plus up here, and there's the Switch logo. These A, B, and X, Y buttons look a little big to me. Maybe that's just me, but I don't know. But it would be nice. I mean, I kind of like. Again, there's a lack of color to it, but I'm thinking back to the days where they had like the GameCube controllers and how awesome and colorful they were. But this looks really cool and really comfortable, and at this point I would get this system just to play on this controller. This controller looks fantastic, I have to say. Looks like there might actually be a headphone jack down there too. Let's zoom in on that. That is, yeah, you got the 4-player stuff, and then this definitely looks like a headphone jack right there. So that is awesome. I'm sure like some pro gamers will definitely like that feature's now added. Alright, so continuing on, they go to this part where these guys are playing during a road trip, and this is obviously Mario Kart 8. It was rumored that we were getting a bunch of ports or remasters of Wii U games onto the NX, which is now the Nintendo Switch. And so it would make sense for it to show up here. Being a remaster, though, or at least hopefully, I would expect it to look a lot different. And I know it's just a tiny little screenshot, but it doesn't look that different to me graphically. I might just need a better look at it. It's really, really hard to tell with just these like videos. And it's like once you get the game, you can tell easily, and so maybe that's just what I have to wait for. And they also have it like set up on some kind of pole that connects to that bar between the seat and the headrest there, and I don't know if I would trust that. I think I'd just prefer to hold on to the system, but they're doing some 2-player action there, so they each have a side of the controller. They each have a controller side, so it would be difficult to do that. Excuse me. All right, so I was a little skeptical about like whether or not this was like different in some way to Mario Kart 8, and then I saw this screenshot. So first of all, this is King Boo, which I am like 99% sure is not playable in the Wii U version of Mario Kart 8 at all. And second of all, this is what I noticed first, actually, is they have a second item in reserve up here. And in Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U, you could not do that. So it might not be graphically remastered in a sense, but they're definitely adding some features. And this personally was a feature. It was in like every other Mario Kart, and it really annoyed me that you couldn't have a reserve item, and now you can again, and that's great. I love that decision. And so again, I'm just skeptical about the graphical quality here. We got no answers about how powerful the system is, unfortunately. But hopefully they'll announce that in the future, and it'll all be brought to light, and we can all feel better about it. Alright, moving on. Alright, so these are a bunch of guys, and a girl, I guess. And they have, since there's 4 of them playing, they have 2 Nintendo Switch tablets. And they're each using a portion of the controller. So that's like 4 controllers for 2 Nintendo Switch systems. So you take the side, you take one of the controller sides and you just tilt it sideways, sort of like a Wii remote kind of thing, where you have the stick there, and then you either have the A, B, X, Y buttons, or you have the D-pad that's separated like that, so it still feels like that. That's why they did that. And And so it's really tiny, and it seems like it might be really uncomfortable to me. But I don't know. It's like they were at this basketball court, and so they're playing like an NBA 2K game, which I guess it's nice to know that sports will be coming back, hopefully for more than just 1 year. Oh man, the Wii U only got the the 13 stuff, and then just nothing happened. That's kind of how you know your third party support is fucked up. At least with EA, if you're not getting like the sports games consistently like everyone else. I'm I'm sure the Wii U would have sold better if FIFA kept going at least. All right, moving on. All right, so this looks like it might be our new Mario game to me. It's interesting, the theme. It's like it seems really barren, so it's got to be like a tech demo. It's like the only like original game, it seems, to be released for the NX, because like everything else is either like third party, like the NBA stuff and like Elder Scrolls Skyrim, and then there are the remasters. But this looks entirely different. I'm sure this is a part of our new Mario game, or it's at least a tech demo. Um, yeah, it's pretty barren all around. It's just got this tiny little city in there. It's got like it's got a nice Spanish like Dia de los Muertos thing going on. It's pretty interesting. I wonder what they're gonna do with that. If that's gonna be like the overall theme of a Mario game. I'm it's it looked kind of nice in the trailer. There was like something to it. It sort of seems like it has like that Super Mario Galaxy kind of graphical style. We're just making the most out of potentially inferior hardware, to just make it look really good, some astonishingly good considering how good Super Mario Galaxy looked back in the day. Okay, so here's a different shot of a different area, and again, it feels like really there's like nothing over here, and there's like nothing in the background, and it's just this one little area. So I'm pretty sure it's a tech demo, but I couldn't get like a really good feel of how graphically good looking it was. I'm really concerned about the power. I'm sorry about that. That's like my main concern right now. Now that this whole portable hybrid thing has been confirmed, I just really want to know how powerful the system is. Maybe that can. I really hope that'll be determined later. I'd really like to know. And so yeah, let's see. Alright, and so this is the last game they had to show off. They had it in like this whole MLG session. They were doing like competitive Splatoon matches. And so we've had it rumored that there was going to be a Splatoon port or remaster onto the Nintendo Switch. And here, I think the graphics do look better here, actually. I think they look really good. But also, like, things like the camera angle and the poses seem to be different. And just, like, the lighting seems to be... It seems, like, overall different, so maybe this might just be a Splatoon 2. I don't know if that's going to be a thing. I thought we were just getting, like, a port or remaster, but I'm not really sure. You can see it here, too. And I think like looking at this tree over here really gave me like a good idea of like the graphical improvements, because you can see like the lighting is really improved based on how these trees and leaves look. If you can't see it so well here, go watch the trailer and you could really see it. And like the building here and just how the lighting and the shading works, it just all looks really good and really like PS4 or so quality, I would like to think. And that's really awesome, but I'm just not sure if this is just the remaster or if it's potentially a new game. I don't know if they really do competitive stuff for remastered versions of games, but I mean, Nintendo, all Nintendo really has going on is like competitive versions of Super Smash Bros. Melee from the GameCube days, so I guess they don't really follow the mold there with keeping with the new stuff. So yeah, So with the idea of the Nintendo Switch, I like it, I guess. I mean, I like how modern and high tech it looks. I mean, the portable portion of it just looks like a tablet straight up. which is good. It doesn't look really old fashioned like the 3DS kind of did, and it's not as bulky as like the Wii U was, or it's bulky in a different way. There's like than the gamepad was. I mean, and taking it on the go, you can obviously take the game as far with you as you want to go. They're obviously doing that. They're taking that full on, sort of like how the PS Vita can do with the PS4. Um, it's there's some potential for some high power behind this thing. Looking at these screenshots and looking at that Mario game, but some other things like I don't know how good that Skyrim gameplay technically looked. I I'm not like I can't look at that too closely. And also Mario Kart 8 just looked exactly the same to me. I don't know if it's just like fixing the geometry and stuff behind it, or I don't know, but it just looked really identical graphically from what we had to go on here. So I really couldn't be sure. But with things like this and that Mario gameplay, it looks like it could have some power behind it, and that's really good. I really hope that rumors of it being twice as powerful as the PS4, on par with the PS4 Pro, is it's not perfect, but I mean it's up there with everything. And so if Nintendo's going the route of just sticking with 1080p and 60 frames per second like it's been rumored, instead of like trying to go 4K with lower frame rates and stuff like that, I think they have like a strong gimmick behind them and saying like, hey, we don't have the best resolution, but at least most of our games have 60 FPS, whereas if you played them on like PS4 or Xbox and they're trying to do this high resolution, but the best they can give you is 30 frames, then hey, that's sort of like the opposite sort of thing, because it's like underpowered, but in a good way, and it's sort of like turning that on its head and just like being proud of that fact. And I kind of like that angle with it. I was really unsure about how to think about like the lack of like power or resolution behind it, but that's a really good way. Like if you take advantage of that and market it that way, then that's really good. And just shoot, because I know Nintendo has generally preferred frame rate over graphics, which is personally great. Um, Being able to play two-player Mario Kart 8 60 FPS is just awesome. And so if they keep that going, then that's a good gimmick, and I think it'll work out for them. But I hope this isn't another failure. I hope there's enough stuff here to keep people enticed and to keep Nintendo fans coming back, which I'm sure they will no matter what. But more importantly, to get those like third parties back, and it seems like they've been making like a lot of progress to get in touch with those third parties and convince them to come back. It sounds like this console is easy to port to build with. It seems like it's going to work out, and I hope it does. And I hope it's as powerful as I want it to be. And alright, so that's the first look at Nintendo Switch. If you haven't already, go to Nintendo of America's account and watch that new trailer. Or you can find it on IGN, or pretty much half of YouTube has it up, I'm sure. So yeah, just and I lost my train of thought here. So you go to you watch the trailer, and and hopefully they I really wish they did a direct instead of just a trailer. I hope they come out with some like 45-minute direct pretty soon, with just like, here's everything about the console and here's like 30 games we're putting out for it. That would be really nice. Alright, but alright, I hope to have some more stuff for you in the future. Alright, see you later.